Hi. Hi, everyone.
Hi.
Welcome. Thanks for being here, hanging out with us. We're so excited. I think everyone already knows this is my husband, Brian, my love bug. So it's launch day, it's release day of Declutter Like a Mother. I'm so excited. It's been a process. I think actually being here and getting to this day just took so much out of me, out of us, out of just, I don't know, the message, the business, the family. It's such a birth to put a book out into the world. So I'm so excited to be here today and really excited that you guys wanted to hang out with us. Thank you for being here. Thank you for submitting questions. We got lots of questions from the community, and we're going to dive into those. But I just want to say, before I get into, I have a bunch of copies here that I'm going to sign, and Brian's going to read your questions to me and I'm going to answer them. But if you haven't already, get yourself a signed copy of this. I'm going to sign them all myself right now. I signed hundreds the other day. And then there's another big box here that I'm going to sign right now while we're live. I think so much energy and thought and prayer and everything went into this book, not just from me, but from my family and from my team, and so many different people have such a heart for you guys and for this message. And it's just got so much heart in it, and it's got so much we get super deep, we get super inspired. I explain things to you and get you ready, totally understanding how things work and why maybe you've been overwhelmed and why it's really not your fault. It's just makes sense. It's science. I talk about, and there's a section of the book where I talk about it's math. It's every single thing takes up your space, also takes up your time. So if you really do the math on that, it makes sense that you don't have enough time for what really matters to you, and you're struggling to keep up with those priorities and really live out your days like they are your priorities. Just so much inspiration and thought and getting down to the heart of it. And then also then getting super practical. And well, what do you do with that though? What does that look like day to day? And really, really simple, practical things like finding the gaps in your home and what's not working anymore and why it's not working and what to do about it, and examples. And this book is unique in that it is deeply both things. It's the emotional, spirit, heart side of things, and then also getting down to the nitty gritty and actually telling you this is what's worked for me, and this is what I've heard from my community, and here's some literal examples, and where to buy what you need and how to get rid of things and where to put them, literally everything. And so I think it's cool that there's so much of me that went into this book, and so to get a signed copy, I don't know. I think it's cool to know that someone's getting these and gonna hold them in their hands. I just think it's special. It's a little extra energy in these books because they're signed. So click the link around this video, get yourself a signed copy, buy one or two for a friend. It would mean the world to me, and I know it would be extra special for you guys, and it kind of just connects us on a deeper level than just reading the book. So super excited. Yeah, I feel like you're ready to do questions.
Sure.
Do you have anything to say about the book? Other than
cover,
you
did
the
cover.
cover.
To finally be here today.
Yeah. Brian did the cover, guys. Look how pretty it is. He did the cover photography, and our designer, Pretzel Day, did the design. It's so pretty. Tell him about how we pulled it off at the last minute and what the shoot was like.
Well, there's even a lot into the trash bag, a whole story with the trash bag, but it was the third shoot that it took to finally get this photo. It was a lot. It was a lot, but there was this one day where we tried again, and I was literally holding a fan in one hand and holding the camera in the other, and we were trying to get it, and then it was just
wait, why were you holding a fan? I don't know that.
We were making the air blow on your hair kind of a thing.
Oh,
I think we tried that.
It's not moving in this photo, so we must have ditched it, which is probably good.
Well,
it's kind of a dumb idea. Was that your idea?
Yeah.
It's fine. But it came out great, and you did a great job, and I'm so happy that you're the one that did the picture. It looks great. It's cool. We have memories in this photo. Okay, so let's do some questions. So here they are right here. You just read them to me, and I'm going to start signing.
Okay, so the first question is from Vanessa. It is, what was your biggest inspiration for writing this book?
Okay, my biggest inspiration was, gosh, I feel like it started being my own struggle, like my own story, and just feeling like when you're a mom, especially I feel like a mom of little kids, because that season is so special and you really want, you know that you want to soak it up and that you're supposed to like soak it up, but I couldn't, like I felt like I physically and emotionally couldn't because I was so kind of just in the dumps and so overwhelmed. Like that whole story and pulling myself out of that place because I felt like there wasn't any support for me started with that. But then I think more than that, seeing that there were so many other women in the world that were resonating with that and sharing their stories with me. And so many of them were like even heavier than mine. And they just felt so stuck, like seeing them. It was like, okay, more than just fixing this for myself, like I need to get this message far and wide, because how many more women are there out there that haven't like come across the blog or follow me on Instagram? Like that's such a small portion compared to the women of the world. I think that for writing this book, that was my inspiration because it was just really heavy on me. That was like the worst time of my life and I wouldn't wish it on anyone. And so knowing that there are so many other women that are literally like day to day, that is their reality currently, it makes me super emotional. I don't want anyone to feel that way. And I know that what I have in this book is an answer for getting out of that. So I want to make that more available than anything, you know?
Right.
Okay, next question.
That's super good. Okay. Do you plan on writing more books? And I imagine you have a lot to talk about. That's from Tracy. She's saying, like, imagine you have like so many things to talk about. You plan to write more books.
Yes, I definitely. There's gonna be 4 books that we know of, like right now, that I'm working on. So Declutter Like a Mother is first. The next book that's coming out is actually a book for kids around the ages of, I would say like 7 and 8 to 12, 13. And that is coming out in March. And then 2 more books after that. So the book after that will be like more about how to take this and apply it to like your life, like your calendar, how your week is going, on a deeper like you level and like your life level. Yeah, and then we're gonna have like a really photo heavy coffee table book. It's gonna be so beautiful and like a visual guide to like all my principles. Like there's lots of books coming and I definitely have more in me too. So I don't plan to stop writing books. I do have a lot to say, Tracy.
Okay, so the next one is like an advice question. So I tend to pull everything out and start making piles. And then I get interrupted by my kids or something else that needs my attention. I end up making more of a mess for myself than making real progress.
Okay, so
any advice?
Yeah, 2 things. First of all, there's options. Everything can be figured out. Like it's worth it to keep going because of like the return on investment of you making more time for yourself and for your family and for the things that really matter to you. So the first thing I would say is make a block of time and like treat it like an appointment. Like if you had an important appointment that it was really important for you to go to, it was really important for you to do that thing, you would probably like ask for help, get childcare, like do it while the kids were at school or whatever the situation is. Like treat it like that, like level it up how you're treating it. So many times people are like, well, this block of time is for this, but when I'm decluttering, I'm just going to do it like on Saturday morning when the kids are around and they need me. So if you have the availability to make it more of like an appointment and treat it that way, do it and just knock it all out like as fast as possible so that you can like enjoy your life and enjoy the results of doing the thing. The second thing that I want to say is, how can you go get her? Sorry, our dog is barking and I can't focus. The second thing I want to say is, instead of pulling everything out and making like piles and piles and piles, like don't do that. Just like open the closet and get like one thing, pick up like one item and make a decision about it. And then put it in its pile that you're going to do something about it. So like a trash pile, then, or a donate pile or whatever. Then like when you get distracted and the kids come in, like it's so much easier instead of pulling everything out and having this like massive mound of stuff and like piles that you're making. Thanks, baby. You only have like the piles of what you're doing with. So it's way easier to just like bag up the trash, throw it away, bag up the donation items, throw them in the trunk of your car for when you go by the donation center. And I mean, like, limit what you're pulling out. It's these kind of like really, really tiny details in the way we're doing things that end up making things like really hard, like harder than necessary. And then you're like less likely to keep going, or really easy and really doable. So just try to find the little tiny tweak that would make it simple. Like, what's going to solve the problem? Just shift the way you're doing it. Okay, next. Oh, I gotta sign books.
Okay, so this one is from Kristen. Are you ever tempted to refuse anything collectible for children? Shopkins, Matchbox cars, Calico Critters, Nerf, Lego, etc. It seems like everything my children like are small and many.
Okay, so I have never personally limited what my kids want to play with. I don't know what half of those things are, so we might be beyond those ages or something. But like Legos and Nerf bullets, like they're
Matchbox cars, like Hot Wheels.
Oh yeah, like Hot Wheels, yeah, those kinds of things for sure. Throughout their whole childhood, they've been here, baby babies. Yeah, like it is what it is. I've never personally like limited or said like you can't have that, because for me saying like, oh, we're not going to get that. No, we're not going to, and like distracting them from something that they want, it just defeats the purpose for me, because in the end, I don't want my kids to grow up and be like, oh, my mom was Allie Casazza and we couldn't have, like, I know she wasn't getting us what we wanted because of that. Like, I want them to see that they can be normal and they can have what they want to have and like live a life that they want to live, but also like be mindful about what they're consuming and not feel like they were punished for no reason without it being spoken about. Does that make sense? Like, I feel like just limiting for the sake of limiting can make them feel like they're not allowed to have something, or this is like unspoken tension about it. And I just don't want that. I don't want that to take up any space in our family. So we have a really regular, they're having a regular childhood. We have a regular house. Like, there's toys, there's Nerf gun bullets that I find and pick up and have to put away. Like, yeah, all the time. There's Legos, so many Legos. And the thing is, like, all of those toys that you listed are either constructive play or imaginary play or collective play. So constructive play is making them build something. Imaginative play is making them create something in their mind, which is so good for them. And collective play is when it brings them together. So something that does one of those three things is so worth the space to me. So I'm not looking to limit the kids' play. I'm looking to expand it. And if the thing that expands it is inconvenient for me, I don't care. I'm a mom. Like, that's not my goal here. My goal is to limit the things that do not matter and are not constructive and are not imaginative and are not collective and don't friggin' matter. The excess stuff that just everyone has, and constantly bringing stuff in all the time. Every time you go to the store, every time you go online, you're buying more stuff that you don't even really need. My goal is to limit those things and make more space for there to be Nerf bullets that I'm picking up and Legos that get left on the floor. I have to call them back to pick it up. Like, that's just being a mom. I'm not looking to limit that. I'm looking to limit what doesn't matter. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it's good. Okay. Next question is from Cara. What is the key to maintenance after decluttering?
Okay, so good question. There's a lot of layers to that, but the main thing that comes up when you ask that is having it in a rhythm. So I'm really big on rhythmatizing things, like basically just setting it in motion to where you don't really have to think about it. It's like a part of your lifestyle. It's a part of your family culture. It's going to make it so much easier. So how can you set it into a rhythm that you live more minimalistic? You are living a simpler lifestyle. You're watching what you take in, like you're being more mindful, and you guard what is taking up space in your home because you know it also takes up your time. So if you know that, it's just like wanting to eat healthier, wanting to work on your marriage. Like, when you want something to shift, you focus on it and it becomes a part of your everyday. So you can do that with this as well. So just as you're cleaning up, kind of be on guard. What are you picking up exactly? Being mindful of picking up instead of just mindlessly picking up and noticing, like, we don't even need this. We haven't even used this. Like, I'm just going to get rid of it. Also, my favorite thing is seasonal purges. So pretty much every time the seasons change, it's kind of like a mental trigger for me to just take stock of what we've got in our house, what's going on with our space, and if we really need it all, if it's working for us. I would say the two biggest areas that I'm watching is the kids' things. and their wardrobe and their toys. And then I will kind of check in on my wardrobe too. It's easy for my wardrobe to get like out of hand just because of my job and video. And there's a lot of like events and things that I'm having to like buy things for. And then I'm probably never going to wear it again. So just checking in on that.
Moving purges too.
Yeah, when you move, it's a really great time to purge. But like regularly in regular life, when you're not moving and nothing big and new is happening, let the seasons kind of mentally trigger you to start it again. And I feel like
that.
Yeah, I feel like
it just feels right to do that as things change.
Totally. Especially when it's like spring and fall. Those are the best ones. Holidays are another really good, like rhythmic time to declutter, because things are probably going to be coming in. So it's just natural to release some things before or after. Birthdays are a really good trigger if they're not around holidays. I feel like it's just something that we can feel and we'll just do. Like one of us will just do it because it's like things will feel, you can kind of feel it. Like the kids have brought in too much things the last few months, or like we just moved to a smaller house. So it's like, okay, like we could feel that. Like what could we get rid of? I don't know. I feel like it's just something you feel.
Yeah. Okay. So the next one is, okay, what was the hardest part of the book writing process for you?
I feel like because I'm an Enneagram 8, being like told when something is due and like how it should be done, like not being completely free to just like whatever, and having other people involved, and like, I don't know, it's basically like a whole lot of being told what to do. It's not my favorite. But I will say that process though refined me as a person and an author. Like having someone else's input makes you so much better and pushes you. It's way better to have that. It's way, way, way better to have that input and have someone else like giving you feedback and saying like why this didn't really make sense to them, especially for someone like me that I've been in the online space for a long time and I've been saying the same kinds of things for a long time. So to have someone read it with fresh eyes and challenge me on it and say things like, this doesn't really make sense to me. And it's like something that I say all the time, like, oh my gosh, like, I guess I need to be more clear about that. Like it just made me better.
Yeah.
But it was hard being a mother of 4 kids, like being so much going on in life, having a full company that I'm running every day at the same time. And then like giving that message in a contract with someone else and having that input and having to like work through
there was
that.
A lot of steps and
a lot of steps.
It was just a lot more than maybe someone would
It's
have
a
thought.
big process. I don't think anything could have prepared me for what a big deal it is and how many steps and all the refining that happens with it.
Here we are. So
we did it.
Okay. How do I get past the emotional attachment I have to things? So I know that letting go of the physical stuff doesn't mean the memories go away, but seeing and touching all the things from when my kids were babies bring back memories that I might not just think of without those physical reminders.
Okay, so yes, you're right. The memory is not the thing. The memory is attached to the thing, and the thing is an emotional and mental trigger of the memory. So I get it. And when you're letting go of something like that, like it's hard because you worry like, what if I don't remember this again? Because I am not getting visually triggered. So create, like you have choices. You always have choices. You can always, like, I'm just going to say this, you can always keep everything. You have that choice. No one's making you not. It's just that, is it worth the time for you? You get to be in charge of how much time your stuff is taking up. So if you don't like the way that things are feeling and you feel really overwhelmed and you feel like your house is owning you and not the other way around, then removing things is going to shift that for you. And it's really going to make your home a more supportive environment for you. So if you're doing that and you get to emotional, sentimental things, you have options. I do have a box, like, what are those plastic bins with like the teeth that enclose together? I don't know what those are called.
The lids, a storage box you can get at any store, really, plastic one.
Yeah, I have one of those, and it's like, I don't know, like the regular size ones, and it's got keepsakes in it. It's got like a little jacket that my daughter wore when she was a baby that's timeless and classic and really special to me that I hope to pass down. Love letters from Brian when we were dating, like just things that are like worth the space. But if everything is marked as special and you're keeping everything, then really nothing is, because by definition, it's got to be different. It's got to be treated differently. So if you're keeping every single thing that triggers a memory, like, you're going to get overwhelmed, and you don't want to do that. You're, in that sense, like, if you were to keep every single thing, in that sense, you're basically, because of the way that items work when they're taking up space in your home, you're kind of like voluntarily giving up present memories because you're so overwhelmed from the past ones taking up so much space. And we don't want to do that. Even if it's just like taking up space in the attic, like that, first of all, is that really something special? If you do something special, you don't shove it in a box in the attic for years. And second of all, like, it's taking up mental space. You know, it's there. Like, it's clutter because it's not being valued, really, right? So outside of that, your options are, I'm really a big fan of using the things. Like, if it's a special necklace passed down to you from someone, wear it. Wear it on date night, wear it to weddings, like, wear it, use it. It's okay if it breaks, because things are meant to be used, right? And you added so many good new memories to that item. Frame it, hang it up in your house so you can be visually triggered by that happy memory all the time. Another thing that helps me is taking a picture of the item, or taking a picture of someone using the item one more time before I donate it. Finding a picture of the person that gave it to me with the item. Like, there's so many options. Find a way that's going to feel really good to you. But please, like, it's just like in the whole movement of like anti-diet culture and talking about, like, if you're limiting yourself, you're going to just want it more. Like, if you tell yourself that you have to let go of something, you're torturing yourself for no reason. You're going to end up like going way on the other side and feeling like you scarred yourself and now you have to hoard everything. Like, it's not about that. It's really like, you're totally in control. This process is about taking ownership. It's not about torturing yourself and making yourself miserable, getting rid of things that are special to you because you feel like you have to be a minimalist. Like, who cares about that? It's not helping anyone.
Okay, so we almost answered this one before we started doing questions. The next question is, what is in the trash bag on the book cover?
Okay, so Brian and I have had a lot of practice putting things in trash bags.
Say all the things that we did before on the photo shoots, which led us to doing what we did.
First of all, this is the first time that I'm not holding it like in the sky. My muscles dying. True. Like, normally I'm like holding it up and
because we actually put clothes and stuff in it.
So we would actually put heavy stuff in it, like, to fill it, to make it look full. We would put I'd get like all my clothes out of the closet and shove them in a bag, and blankets and like all kinds of things. And it was always so heavy, and I'd be like pissed, and like we'd be like fighting because my arm hurts to get the freaking picture.
We tried hanging it with a fishing pole, like, so it wasn't so heavy.
So there's help carrying it. Like, it was ridiculous. But over the years, like, we figured it out. The thing to put in the trash bag to make it look full of clutter but not heavy is pillows, like bed pillows, because they're light but they're big and fluffy. So it's a weird side note of our jobs that we know things like that. If anyone ever needs to know what to put in a trash bag to make it feel full, we're for hire.
Yeah, that's cool. That's weird, but okay, so the next question, any advice for decluttering my wardrobe when I'm in the middle of having babies? I don't want to donate clothes that I may need again in a year as my size keeps changing. I feel like I've heard you answer that one.
Yeah, that's a good one. Also, I need more books.
Well, here you go.
Thanks. Okay, so if you think you may have more babies and you think that you're going to need the clothes again, or obviously if you're pregnant and you know you're eventually not going to be, whichever side of the wardrobe you're talking about, think about it like, when you're in that next season of your body is going through seasons just like you go through seasons of life. Like, as we go through seasons of life, whether it's pregnancy or something else, our bodies react and they shift. It's good. They're supposed to. We want to support ourselves and our bodies. We don't want it to be the other way around, where we're feeling like we have to force it, or, you know what I mean? So your clothes are supposed to support your body. So in the next season, if you're, again, find yourself in the season where those clothes work for you, you have to decide, like, is this like so my favorite, so supportive, so flattering, I love it, I would look forward to wearing this again when I'm at that point, is it really worth that? If it's not, that's when you gotta consider, like, why did I even buy this? It's probably not worth taking up space then. If you're not excited to wear it the next time around, then probably let it go. And that also is like really good lesson for gauging like what to keep in your wardrobe in general. Like just because you're pregnant again, it's not like, oh, now I get to wear all my favorite things that were worth keeping. Like you should always have things like that. Your whole wardrobe should make you feel like that. Even like my pajamas and my hangout wear, like all make me feel great. So it's about your wardrobe is supposed to not only reflect you and support you, but show it's a love language to yourself of how much you value yourself. So really let it put you in check with like, am I kind of like not valuing myself in the way and the types of clothes that I'm keeping and the types of things I'm putting on my body and wearing it just because I bought it. Like it should all support you in every season that you're in. So if you're not super excited to put it back on again, it's probably not worth keeping.
Great. Okay, so this one is my husband doesn't seem to see clutter. He grew up in a house that was very full, and he seems content with how things are right now. How can I help him understand that things need to change?
So a lot of the time in my experience, the best thing that helps is explaining like there is science behind this. The UCLA study specifically showed like literal connection between the amount of cortisol, which is the stress hormone, and clutter in people, especially in women. Women were more affected than men in this study, which makes sense. Everything's very connected for us, and we're extra feeling like we know what's up. You can feel it. Everything affects you. Okay, like people are like that. But this study showed that women were really, really affected. And I think that really says a lot. There's a lot on us. There's more expectations on us. Like we're balancing a lot and carrying a lot. So explaining that, I mean, you can't really argue with science.
Because I feel like it was hard for me to deal with that when you did it. And you didn't do anything you didn't declutter any of my stuff, but you did your thing. Mm-hmm. And then I saw the example of how things started to feel in the house with what you did. And I was seeing all these results, which made me see it. And then, obviously we had that one move where all my stuff was out of control, and it was so crazy to move it made me see all the stuff, and then the contrast of seeing how you had everything made me realize how much better and free it was to not have all that stuff. And that's what made me get on board with this.
So like leading by example, and that's the thing, like just do your thing. You have a full wardrobe to let go of, like you in Declutter, like you have a lot of stuff in the house that you have control over. Mm-hmm. So it's kind of like share what you're learning, share the facts, share how you're feeling, speak what is true for you, set your own boundaries, but also like leave him alone. He's not going to be on the same page as you as about every single thing all the time. And like focus on yourself. So finding the balance between all those things. Yeah.
Okay. So next question is, I used to make a lot of crafts before I had kids, and I still have a room filled with random supplies, fabric, and a sewing machine. I'd like to get back to it, but it doesn't seem possible with how busy life is. Should I hold on to those things or just let them go and then buy everything new if I find more time for hobbies in the future?
Okay. So this is a tricky one because it has to do with like, it's so much more than clutter. Clutter is really never about clutter. It's always about something deeper, which is what makes it so easy to avoid because we don't want to deal with these like inner things. So first of all, it makes sense that you're a mom now and you have less time for hobbies, but is there a piece of you that really like wants to do that? If you really want to do that, like you can absolutely make time for that. Like you deserve to spend time doing something that you enjoy. Just because it makes you happy doesn't have to be productive. You don't have to like constantly be working and earn your worth and try to, be running the clock every day to, just being a mom. Like, can you make time for enjoyment? Could you make time just even like an hour on the weekend morning or something? You know what I mean? Just something that feels good. If that's something that you want to do, like make time for it. If it's not right now and you're ready to like put it to rest, and maybe I always talk about the ideal version of you. Pretty much all of us have this like ideal version of ourselves that like has the perfect weight and dresses perfectly and does all these magical things and balances their time perfectly. Like, are you are you being the ideal version of you in your mind when you keep those craft supplies, but you really like that was an old thing that you used to do and you're ready to let it go? Kind of have to gauge like where you're at and how you're feeling. But a lot of the time as moms, we just put ourselves dead last and we don't even really know who we are anymore because we don't make time for knowing. So check something you really like want to do and need to do for yourself, but you feel bad. Or it just seems like, even though I would love to do that and would make me so happy, I just can't, there's no time. Like look at that and analyze, like, is that really aligned with how you want to live? Or like I said, if it's something else where it's like, you used to do that and it's just in the past, maybe you'll pick it up again later, but you're okay to let it go in this season, then give the things to someone who loves it and like know that you're like making them so happy. And you can always like, you're resourceful enough to figure out how to get what you want in the future and like buy it again. Like it just depends on where you're at. There's no like cut and dry answer to that because it depends on this in relation to you and who you are and where you're at emotionally and like energetically with the hobby. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm. That's great. That's helped me out so much.
Yeah. I know we've talked about that a lot.
Yeah.
It's deeper than just what do I do with this stuff? Is it clutter? Like you have to decide. So, you know. Yeah, with a lot of things. Mm-hmm. I think just it's really relatable for parents.
Yeah.
Okay, next question.
Okay, it's the last one.
Oh, and the last book, right?
Yeah. Okay, so my mother's love language is gifts. I've heard this one a lot. Okay. And she really seems attached to the things she picks out for me, even though most of the time they don't match my personal style. She often asks about them months later, especially if she doesn't see me using them. I gave one of her gifts to a friend and she was crushed when she found out. I don't want to hurt her feelings, but I don't want to keep a bunch of stuff that I don't love. Please help.
Okay, so this is it's gonna have to come down to like you communicating to her, which I realize is super awkward, especially like the mother-daughter dynamic. Like I get it. But like here's the thing. You said it in your question, like you answered your question in your question. You said, my mom seems really attached to the things that she picks out for me. Your mom has the attachment to the things and is like projecting that attachment onto you and fully expecting, like unspokenly, expecting you to carry that same attachment, which doesn't really make a lot of sense and isn't really fair. Is she going to come to your house every day and dust everything and put everything away for you and keep everything clean for you? Like, no, of course not. So you're the guardian, you're the editor of your space, right? Nate Berkus says, be the ruthless editor of your home. Like you're the one that has to maintain it all. Like edit what comes in there and be ruthless about it because it does matter. Your environment affects you beyond what takes up your space, takes up your time. It affects you. It affects your energy levels. It affects visually when you're seeing clutter, when you're seeing things that you don't really love and aren't like jazzed about, like that affects you. You're paying for this space. Like it needs to really make you happy and needs to fully support you. And if these things that she's giving you, the intention is great, but it's got all these like secret contracts attached to them. Like you're supposed to keep it for a certain amount of time. And she's like checking to see like, this is not you being rude. It's actually her being rude. It's her projecting her attachment to this. I think that she shows her love, like you said, through giving gifts and she feels like she's loving you, but actually it seems a little bit more like control. So communicate to her, communicate like where you're at, what you're feeling, what your goals are with your home, what you're working on, and just be really open and say like, Mom, I feel your love in so many ways. Like, and tell her what those are. And you got to set the boundary. You've got to set a boundary. And then from that point, if she keeps doing it or, doesn't stop or whatever, she does it every once in a while, like you've been so clear. We can't expect people to read our minds or just like, hey, keep buying me stuff and giving it to me. I don't want it to make it awkward. So I'm just going to like give it away to my friend. Like, of course that hurts her feelings because she's got it in her head a certain way. And you have to just be super clear. Muster it up in yourself. You can say it in love. You can send it in an email, like do however you want to do it, but communicate like, Mom, this is my space and this is where I'm going. This is what I've really come to find. And this is really helping me. And, it's just not really working out, and have the awkward conversation, but she's feeling free to have the awkward conversations with you, like communicating that shit, her feelings that you gave the thing to your friend. Like, so you are worth protecting your space and protecting your time. You're trying to spend more time with your family on things that are important to you. And someone who's trying to love you is actually kind of undoing some of that and definitely projecting their own attachment and some it sounds like a little bit of, I mean, really at the root of this is probably some fear and some control. Like everything, it's never about the stuff. It's always like psychologically so much deeper, and we all do it. It's okay, but you got to communicate what you need to communicate and have that conversation for sure. So that's it.
That's it.
Guys, such good questions. What a good conversation. Thank you so much. I have signed a bunch of books.
There's a lot of books.
Can you see it? I don't know. Can you see it? I'm trying. I can't. Oh my God. I signed a bunch of books. They all say XO Allie. Click the link in this video to get a signed copy. Get one for a friend. Get one for your mom that needs to learn about clutter. Get one for whoever you love that would benefit from this message. This is not just for moms. This is for people. This is for humans who are complaining that they don't have enough time for what matters and don't realize that the environment they're spending every day in is working against them and keeping them from being happy, from having time and energy and mental space and physical space to do the things that are important to them, to focus on what really matters to them, to live a life aligned with who they really want to be. Marshall Goldsmith says, and this is in the book, if you do not create and control your environment will create and control you. So this is about a book about self-love and self-loving yourself through your environment and taking that environment and creating and controlling it in a way that is really going to support you, that's really going to serve you. And through serving you, it's also going to serve your kids, your family. Like you're going to be more hospitable. You're going to feel better when you come home. Like when you feel good, that radiates in our world. And honestly, it really needs everyone to feel good right now. So get to clutter like a mother, get your signed copy. I love you guys so much. Thank you for your questions. Thanks for hanging out with us. And we'll see you later. Bye.
Hey, this is John Acuff, New York Times best-selling author of 7 books and someone who's done a live signing. If you like the one you just watched, make sure you check out our YouTube channel. It's full of amazing authors having great conversations and signing books for viewers just like you. So make sure you subscribe, and thanks for watching today.